All right, so three, two, one, you are on.
Hello and welcome to Joanne's Cosmic Energy. How is everybody today? I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, a mother, a wife, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, and cosmic energy reader. And I'm asking you, how are you today? How are you on this amazing day? It is November 11th, 2020. And I just want to say it again, but I'm going to say it with the numbers. It's 11/11/2020. And before I go into that, I just want to wish all the veterans out there, thank you so much for serving and doing all that you do for our country. So thank you. And just to give a shout out to just a few that I do know, I want to send a shout out to my Uncle Butch, who served, and also a few of the new colleagues I have met over the last couple of months. We're going to give a shout out to Natine, who is someone who's become very close to me in some work that him and I are doing together. So I'm really excited for him. And then also we have Robert Garcia, who's been a guest of mine on my TV show. So that's just a few of them, but there's so many more. I could spend the entire day sending out thanks. But anyway, I ask you, how are you doing today? I'd like to also remind you that we are on Roku, iTunes, and YouTube. So if you're not able to catch the whole show, you can always come back and watch it later. And share, like, and comment for today's show, because it's going to be one of those shows you're going to want to share, because anyone who wants this information, wants this insight, is going to want to be here today. Before we go further, I'd like to just introduce my little friend that I have here today. And I'm asking you, what's on your mind today? What's on your mind? And know that with the amazing energy that we have going on today with the 11/11/2020, if you like, write that number down. I'd like you to really resonate with that number just for a moment, because those numbers repeat. All three of those numbers, 1, 2, and 0, repeat, or 0, 1, 2 repeats. Anytime a number repeats, there's a significance energies behind the format of it repeating. To start off with, for those of you who may or may not know about numerology and angel numbers, the 11 is a master number. Master numbers are all about a higher frequency, but the 11 is also about how the gateway is actually open today. And that gateway is leading you to connecting with your higher self, higher power, your loved ones, spirit guides, archangels, angels, and it's giving you the ability to connect with your ancestors as well, to ask those questions that you need guidance on. And besides, for this particular day in itself, the entire month of November is very powerful because of that 11 energy. And then when we think of that 11/11, before we go into that 11/11, we also have an angel number there as well, which is that one, the three ones, which is all about keeping your thoughts positive today. But more importantly, the 11/11. The 11/11 is the day. Today is the day to turn around and really sit and ask yourself that one big wish that you like to put out there, and know that your higher self, higher power, and everybody else in the higher realms are literally rooting for you. Ask that big wish. Do not waste this particular energy on something small. Wish really big as you can, because know that when it does manifest, know that that was with the help of the 11/11 energy. Very powerful energy today. And then let's take the zeros out just for a moment and focus on the 22. Now, 2 holds the vibration of partnerships, contracts, relationships, whether it's in your personal life or professional life as well. But that 22 is a master number, which is a master builder. What are you building today? What are you building regarding your relationships, your partnerships? What contracts do you want to create as we move into 2021? Because we are at the very end of 2020. So it's a great time to evaluate the contracts you currently have and ask, do you want to continue those contracts as we move into 2021? And if not, it's a great day to release that energy and make space for some new energy to come in. Again, you have the power. I ask you, what's on your mind? So with that all being said, and knowing that you got that 22 as the master builder, building your contracts, building your partnerships, building your relationships, That could be one of your wishes. Now let's talk about those zeros. Let's bring them back in. Zeros also have a vibration and frequency. And what the zeros are representing is letting you know you have a lot of choices and a lot of potential. There's so much potential today. I am hoping that you are feeling the energy that is taking place today, personally speaking and collectively. And the collective energy, when we think about all that's been going on in our world, and over the last give and take week and a half, there's been a lot of interesting energy. And we've literally reached a point where things are starting to spiral up. Things are starting to shift upward. We're constantly on a roller coaster with energies, and we're finally in that space where things are starting to move upward, where energetically we're all starting to feel that connection to spirit, which is so interesting on the topic we're going to be speaking about today, which I'll be sharing that with you shortly. But before I dive into that, again, just looking into those zeros and recognizing what your potential is, what choices you have. And always remember, you always have a choice. Even when you don't make a choice, you're choosing not to make a choice. So it's a choice. And always remember, you are the creator to every situation that's going on in your life, whether you are aware of it or not, and you get to decide. As I always like to say, what we listen to, what we speak about, what we watch, are the things we are creating into our experience. So I ask you, is what you're watching, is what you're listening to, is what you're speaking about the things you wish to create in your life? And if they're not, again, today you have the ability, you have the power to clear the energy out of all of that and move into a space of what you would like to create, because you are the creator. So anything that's not serving you from this day forward, sit down and give thanks to it, recognize all it's done for you, and then release it. Cut the cord of it. And then make that space. Call in the things you want to create. Call in the things you want to create. I want to bring that to your attention here. Whereas if you're just releasing things, but you're not filling that space up with the things you want to create, then you have open space, and that will tend to get filled back up with the old stuff. So again, whatever it is you're looking to release, cut the cord of, and then sit and start inviting in the things you want to create in, so you don't have that empty space. You want to fill it up. Otherwise, it will be filled up with the things you used to have. And if you go into the process of releasing and cutting and clearing, you want to completely do that and then fill that space up with all the things you wish to create. And know that as time goes on, what we look to create now, down the road, you may ask yourself, does it serve my higher purpose? And it may not at a later time. But do what you want to do now. Enjoy this amazing energy that we have going on today. Use this day for your most highest good, creating all your dreams, desires, and fantasies, for that matter, into your reality. I'd like to pull a card for today to see what chakra can help you really release what needs to be released, and also have a affirmation to use to help you align yourself to your desires. So let's see what we have. And also knowing that there's always, always, always a number that provides a hidden message. And I'm loving our card for today. Very appropriate. Spiritual guidance. As today is, the 1111 is the gateway of making magic, setting your dreams, making wishes, and knowing you have everyone from the higher power in your favor. The chakra associated is the heart center. So do some work on your heart center today in reference to clearing out whatever needs to be cleared, so you can move into the space of joy, excitement, bliss, and knowing that anything is possible today. Your number is 3 and 4. 3, what are you creating? 4, find that balance, find that stability, and start to build your new foundation with all of that. That works into a 7 energy, which is our hidden message. The 7 is all about the seeker, evaluating, stepping into your spiritual awakening process, which is what this is really about. Think about it in this process. There's a long, long path in front of you. And along with that path, there's a beautiful gate that's open. Are you ready to step inside that gate and begin your spiritual journey? Because that's what today is all about. So I encourage you to do that. And I encourage you really to sit in your heart center and just be grateful for all the amazing opportunities that you've had and all the amazing opportunities that are coming in your door, because they will. All you have to do is open yourself up and begin the process of asking for them. As they say in the law of attraction, ask, believe, you shall receive. Leaving you with that piece of insight, again, I'd like for you to let me know how that card resonated with you. Feel free to email healingwithin76@gmail.com should you desire a one-on-one reading, and leave the comments in below in regards to how the card resonated. I would love to know. I would come back and answer your questions or comments that you may have. And all that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm looking forward to introducing you to my guest today. I'll be right back.
Hi there, my name is Sherry Simpson. I am your intuitive guide. I help spiritual entrepreneurs access and expand their gifts in order to help more people and make more money. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/sherry.simpson, SHERRI.SIMPSON. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to connecting soon. Namaste.
Hello, are you an entrepreneur, healer, author, publisher, life coach, or living in purpose? I am Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, the host of Joanne's Healing Within TV show, and I am currently accepting guest applications for those of you who are ready to shine your light, inspire others, and share your story, and step in front of a much larger audience, such as Roku, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and of course Facebook. I am currently offering special rates for those of you who are interested in inspiring others and shining your light. Email your bio and story to healingwithin76@gmail.com. Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Cosmic Energy. For those of you who are just joining, I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest here. But before I introduce, I just want to dive back into our card insight for today, that we are on 11/11/2020, which is all about our spiritual guidance. Perfect card for today and perfect energy. And I don't know about you guys, but I am totally feeling the magic today, the high energy, the frequency, the vibration, shifting energy, which is what you're probably going to be feeling too throughout the day with this amazing energy. Chakra to focus on is your heart center. Fill it up with joy and love and let go of all the other stuff that doesn't really matter. That's 7 energies. You are the spiritual seeker today. I'm going to keep it short because Sherry and I have a lot to cover today. So I'd like to introduce to you my amazing guest. She's been on my show more times than I can count, but reason being is because she's got so much to share and so much to inspire, and you really want to know what she's got to share with you. So Sherry Simpson, how are you today?
I am fabulous. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. And you are our intuitive guide, right?
Yes, intuitive guide.
Yes. Let's briefly explain what that is. I know what it is, but some of our viewers may not.
Of course. I believe that your intuition leads you. So some of my clients need help to be led. So I use my intuition to do that. But many of my clients have intuition and they're just not trusting it. So I'm guiding them back to themselves so that they can expand and trust their intuition like they never have before.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. And intuition, I think specifically for today, is going to be quite heightened for many. And for those who are new to this journey, it might be quite surprising and even a little bit of confusing. If I wouldn't say. How about you? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think there's millions of souls that are actually waking up and realizing that they're both human and spiritual. So there's many on the planet that definitely need we as light workers to help them along that path.
Yes, that is so true, which is why we're all here as healers, light workers, and as more and more evolve into that energy, we're all here to really help each other get to a higher frequency and trust the process. So yeah. So our topic for today, which I am super, super excited about. I don't know if you can feel my energy, but I am so excited for this topic, which the topic is the season of the witch. And it just makes me excited. So anyway, let's dive in. What makes a witch a witch?
It's such a good question. I feel like a lot of people who might resonate as being a witch are using this kind of outdated vision of what a witch is. So I feel like there's way more witches on the planet. Maybe they're not doing rituals, maybe they're not doing ceremonies, maybe they don't have a crystal ball or a cauldron. It doesn't mean that you're not a witch.
Interesting. And I love the way you said crystal ball. I don't know if you saw the beginning of my show.
Love it.
Yes, I was actually guided just before we jumped on the show. I was like, oh, I have to bring my little friend onto the show with us because I thought it was just so appropriate. So, yes. So, before I dive into your actual second question, in regards to when we think about people who are witches, and Bobby and I were actually chatting about that a minute ago. In regards to for males, what do they classify as?
I would classify them as warlocks. Some may even be classified as wizards. It depends on, which one resonates.
Awesome. Yeah, because I wanted to clarify that for the guys who are watching so they do not feel left out and thinking that, well, don't I have this ability? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So, in regards, when and how does a person resonate in regards to, with themselves of being a witch?
It's very interesting because I find that people resonate as being a witch in many, many different ways. Some of them know that they have ancestors who went through the witch wound, so the periods of time where many witches were beheaded and drowned and set on fire. And I actually have a new one. Can I talk about this just for a second? I have a new one that I didn't know that I had this past life experience until just like 3 days ago. One of the other ways that the witches were prosecuted or persecuted, they were crushed or pressed. So they placed wood and things on top of them, and then they put rocks or elephants or different things on top to crush them.
Oh, wow.
Awful. So many people will resonate with those forms of persecution as, oh my God, like that resonates with me, like wow, that happened to me, or this is, there's a message here.
Mm-hmm. Now, when one actually can resonate to the fact that they are a witch, what would be some of the skills that they would have?
Good question. I feel like accessing intuition in any way is definitely a skill. I've had some witches that I've worked with who could literally change the weather or, set up the weather around what they needed. So there's many different ways that a witch will use their tools. In everyday life, we see many of them who are using essential oils, many who are using crystals, many who are using tarot cards. So you could be using these gifts in so many different ways.
Interesting. Now, for some who may find the term witch to be a little wicked or devilish or the dark side, how can we make that lighter for them? So this way here, they can own their power of being a witch and accept it without having the heaviness of like, oh my God, if I step into this, I'm stepping into the devil's work or the darkness. What's some of the tools there?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I find that those people were actually persecuted in some way in past lives, and they're actually resonating with the fear or the darkness of those lives. So many of them are experiencing the emotions that are tied to their past.
Interesting. Now, in regards to, let's say you have healers, you have sound healers, Reiki practitioners, shamanics, massage therapists, acupuncturists. Are these all just different sort of like labels, but they're all classified as witches, or are they all really different types of healers?
It's a very good question. I would say that the majority of them would resonate as witches. In terms of the word, if they don't like the term, if they don't resonate with the term, I would use witch and light worker as the same.
Interesting, interesting. So do you feel, and now this is of course just your own personal opinion, maybe even your intuition for that matter, do you feel that as we move forward, more and more people are going to start qualifying themselves as, let's say, light workers, or even using the term witch as opposed to saying I'm a healer?
Absolutely, I 100% believe that and feel that with the millions that are waking up to their spiritual aspect, that a lot of them are going to be, coming into their own rights in terms of what kind of healing or what kind of abilities they have. So yeah, I agree. There's going to be a lot more.
Yes, yes. And now here goes the big question as it's so interesting on how our questions and answers are just going into the next question. Why are there so many souls who are waking up right now?
That's a really great question. Essentially, in time, and we know that time only exists here, and that on Earth it's something that we know, but in other places, in other dimensions, it doesn't exist the same way. But it's as though Earth and the beings who are here are ready for some kind of feminine transition. We've had many, many, many lives, or many lives and years where we've been in that very masculine, very earthly, very dominant energy, and now it's time for the other to come and rise.
Interesting, interesting. Now, in regards to today's particular energy, the 11/11/2020, and I keep saying it because I just love it. With this particular energy we have going on today, as the gateway is open, do you believe that there's going to be a lot more people who are going to wake up today and say, wow, there's something different about me?
It's a great question, because I don't think personally that I woke up in a day. Did that happen with you?
No, but let me rephrase my question.
Okay.
Yeah, let me rephrase that question. I think what I'm trying to say is that somebody wakes up, let's say today, and they just they go through this process of reminiscing back to, let's say, a couple of months, even a couple of years, and they start like really owning in to this energy and getting a better understanding of like what's really going on with me, and why am I feeling this way today? Like, could this particular energy today heighten their experience of something they might have ignored a while back, but it's become so powerful today?
Yeah, it's really an interesting thing to think about. And what my intuition is saying is it will depend, because you and I have different birth charts. And so where the planets are in my birth chart is going to impact the speed and the quality of my thoughts and my beliefs and my patterns and how I'm changing and shifting. So I think it will depend on who they are, whether they're more awake today or more realizing their spiritual connection.
Yes. And I'm loving the fact that you just said that. I've been following you on Facebook like a hawk. And I think that's one of your animals, if I'm not mistaken. Spiritual animals, hawks.
It is. Yeah.
Yes. So I've been following you like a hawk. And I've noticed that I think the last couple of days you've posted something about the astrology and how the astrology can actually help one to really recognize their spiritual path. If I have that right, do I have that right? Correct me if I don't.
Yeah. So if you think about the fire signs, the air signs, the water signs, and the earth signs, those all really resonate with a certain form of intuition. So essentially, I'm a water sign, and I'm definitely a touchy-feely person. And that when I work with clients, I will often feel things in my body that are not even mine, that are relating to them. So the water signs are often about flowy emotions.
Yes, yes. And if you wouldn't mind, just to go a little bit deeper on that in reference to for our viewers who may not really know what element they are, if you can just specify. And I know I'm catching you off guard here. It's like, wait, that wasn't one of the conversations. But things just pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could just specify I know there's 4 elements, and like each sign and what their element is, so they would have a general idea, and then just go into that a little bit so they'll know.
Absolutely. So personally, I have a ton of water in my chart. So I know the water signs better than any other sign. So let's start with those. The water signs are Cancer, which is my rising, Scorpio, which I have 5 planets in my chart, and Pisces, I have 1 planet in Pisces. So those 3 astrological signs are all considered water signs.
Interesting. Now, and as you said before, being that you are a water sign, you're touchy feely. So when you work with your clients, you pick up their emotions. You're feeling their emotions. Yes.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that I feel their emotions. I literally feel things in my body and have to ask them, what is this? This is what I'm feeling in my body. This is what it feels like to me. Tell me about this. Because it might not necessarily be that I'm feeling an emotion, but it's my intuition is telling me using my body that I need to ask about something.
Makes sense. Yes, that makes sense. Now, in regards to like our fire signs, are you familiar with the fire signs?
Absolutely. My mom and my sister are both Aries. Those are a fire sign. Leo and Sagittarius are also the fire signs.
Yes. And what would their spiritual connection be regarding their sign?
Absolutely. The fire signs are usually clairvoyant. So they see things, they have vivid visions, they have vivid dreams. They're often better at visualizing things. You know how some designers will be able to walk into a room and be able to picture it already done? That's one of those skills that the fire signs have.
Awesome. And then we have our air signs, which I know one of them is Aquarius, because I happen to be Aquarius, moon anyway.
Yes. Yeah. So Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini are the air signs. And they tend to be, because we think about air as being like the things that we hear. So they tend to be the clairaudience.
Interesting. And then I think we have earth signs.
Absolutely. So the earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. A lot of times they're not necessarily feeling like they're spiritual or they have gifts, but their gifts are just so natural and they're kind of connected to our humanness. So often it's smelling or tasting. Sometimes it's visual. So it's really about the human aspects that they're bringing in that are really second nature to them.
Interesting. Now, in regards to the moon, the rising, and sun sign, should one have, let's say, the water, the air, and let's say earth in their chart based on their moon, rising, and sign, or is this based on all of their signs, all of their planets in their chart?
Yeah, that's a good question. In terms of the way that I like to look at it, I would start by separating like how many waters, how many earths, how many fires, how many airs do I have in my chart, and whatever is the biggest, I would start working on what does it mean for a water sign, and then you would go that way. So for me, it makes sense to look at your entire chart. Plus, you would probably look at your sun sign.
Interesting. Yes. Yeah. Because it's really interesting because, as you said, I believe you have 5 times Scorpio, and then you have Pisces and Cancer. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a Cancer rising, and I have something else. I think something else. Pisces is in something else.
Yeah. So a lot of water in you. Now, I mean, off the topic, of course, but I mean, do you like to go into the water, like to swim?
A very interesting question, because based on who I am at soul level, I prefer to be near the water, but not in it.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that question is because I'm the exact same thing, because I have a lot of water in mine. I think I have about five planets in water as well. And 2 of those planets are the sun and my rising sign. And also my Venus is water too, and North Node. And I don't mind being by water, but to get me in the water, it's not my biggest thing to do. And most people often find that to be weird. They're like, you're a water sign and you don't like water? Well, that's because I have so much damn water in my chart. Why do I need to be in water?
I agree. I find that being in the trees and even in the mountains is very grounding for me because I have so much water as well.
Exactly. So yeah, and just so our viewers know that we didn't like get off course, this has lots to do with all that we're speaking about today, I truly believe. So in regards to how does one expand their, as we put it, their witchy skills?
Yeah, it's a witchy skills based on, whether they see themselves as a witch or not. It's the same way we expand anything as a human. You have to practice them, you have to use them, you have to be willing to try things that maybe you haven't tried before. So for me, I've been into crystals and cards before, and those are all cool, but I don't think I'm going to be doing rituals or ceremonies anytime soon. It's just not who I am. But you really have to start dabbling and practicing in order to get better at what you're doing.
Yes. And it's so funny that you should say what you just said about, using the cards and the crystals and not doing ceremonies, because I'm so doing just all of that. The cards, the ceremonies, the crystals. It's like I feel like I'm in my magic right now, and it's just all pouring out. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. And I think that's the key. So you want to really play with the things that are fun. And you'll know if something isn't fun, that it's just not in your bag of tricks. It's just not something that you want to be doing.
Exactly. So in regards to how are witches different today than from who came before?
Yeah, in terms of witches, I think that we have accumulated over many lives and from many ancestors, we've accumulated different gifts. So many of us have been shamans and Reiki healers and this and that. And so in this life, it's as though we're waking up and expanding to using everything that we've learned from everywhere. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah.
I hope it makes sense for our viewers, because, I mean, again, just bringing it back to on my side of the table, within the last, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, I've tapped into I'll use my word, the toolbox, and pulled out some additional modalities that I wasn't even aware that I was going to be doing. So I can totally understand, being able to recognize that, oh wow, there's more. Because I was always under the impression, in fact, I was chatting with one of my healers a couple of weeks back who I'd gone to visit, and she did a card reading for me, and she said to me, she goes, "You're going to be tapping into more gifts." And my expression to her was, "More gifts? Don't I have enough?" And she's like, "No, there's no such thing as enough. You can always have more." And I was just like, okay. So I totally can get that. Now, I think this next question is a real big question. And for our viewers, you might want to really pay attention here on this one in reference to what are witches' wounds?
Yes. So the witches' wounds are the way that witches were treated in the past. So maybe it's our ancestors, maybe it's us in past lives. So the witch wounds are the wounds that we still carry that are preventing us from standing fully into our witchy power in this life, out of fear that something might happen to us again, like we might be traumatized, we might be killed, we might be tied up and abandoned, and all of these, very, very big emotions.
Interesting. And now, for our viewers, what is one tip that you can offer to our viewers to help them out to have an understanding that they are a witch, and how they can really accept it? What's that one tip?
I would say meditate. It might be a weird tip for me to say, but it's harder for people to tap into their gifts when life is busy and loud and noisy and they've got so much going on in their mind. You can ask for something from the universe, like, I want to open up my clairaudience. But unless you actually sit down and allow that to happen in meditation or quiet or peacefulness, you're not giving you're not giving the universe time to respond. You're not giving your guides and your spirit team time to get back to you. So meditation, I would say, is probably the number one thing that witches need to be doing.
Yes, to sit quietly and allow yourself to tap in. Tap in.
You have to be able to receive from the universe, to receive from your intuition, to receive from your ancestors and past lives. If you're on that giving, doing level, it's hard to receive.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know this is not something you and I discuss off camera, but I'm kind of curious, and if you're not open to doing it, that's okay too. Would you be open and interested in sharing your story to how you came into being the witch?
Absolutely. So for me, I had to wait until something kind of crazy and major happened in my life. And that's common for a lot of witches that are waking up and other light workers. So for me, I was in a job that I didn't love. And I ended up calling in. I know I created it now because I trust manifestation now, but I created an autoimmune disease of the thyroid. And I did everything possible for about 3 years to try to fix it, including going to energy healers and psychics and astrologers and everything that I tried, I know put me closer to opening up my gifts.
Beautiful, beautiful, which is powerful because, again, some may feel, I'm going to use the word feel, some may feel that when they do come down with a diagnosis as what you had, that it's like, oh my God, this is awful. And, and they go into that dark space of, that they're sick, they're ill, but yet based on what you've just shared, that particular diagnosis was the door, the gateway to leading you into where you needed to go.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I used it as a jumping off point. So I left the 9 to 5. I retrained as a massage therapist. And that was super huge because it put me into people's energy fields. And that's how I realized that I could actually read people and pull things out of their energy field that they hadn't told me.
Interesting. We're just bringing a question to mind based on what a client that I have, and I'm sure there's probably millions of people that toy with this thought, but whatever it is, maybe their fears. When someone
Hi there, my name is Sherry Simpson. I am your intuitive guide. I help spiritual entrepreneurs access and expand their gifts in order to help more people and make more money. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/sherry.simpson, SHERRI.SIMPSON. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to connecting soon. Namaste.
Hello, are you an entrepreneur, healer, author, publisher, life coach, or living in purpose? I am Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, the host of Joanne's Healing Within TV show, and I am currently accepting guest applications for those of you who are ready to shine your light, inspire others, and share your story, and step in front of a much larger audience such as Roku, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and of course Facebook. I am currently offering special rates for those of you who are interested in inspiring others and shining your light. Email your bio and story to healingwithin76@gmail.com. Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Cosmic Energy. For those of you who are just popping in, I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. I have my amazing guest, Sherry Simpson. We are in the process of speaking about the season of the witch, and I like to apologize for technical difficulties as it's expected because of all this amazing energy that is going on. It does interrupt technology. So I have no idea where the heck I was before that happened. Sherry, maybe you can bring me back to where I was, because I'm like, whoa, what happened?
You were asking me how I actually woke up, and I was telling you how that happened for me. So I don't know, are you going to share how that happened for you?
How I woke up. That's a good darn question. How I woke up. I think I woke up based on a combination of two things: of a relationship that ended, from my point of view, suddenly a 12-year relationship that brought me into a space of wanting answers and introduced me to a lot of different psychics, mediums, clairvoyants, crystal healers, etc. But then after my mom had crossed, the gateway just literally sprung open, and it was like all this magical energy had surfaced for me, where I was tapping into my Reiki abilities. Didn't know that I would be creating a deck of damn cards. I was like, where did this come from? So when one really allows themselves to just go with the energy that they're expected to be in, and I use that word expected to be in because I believe it's um, our birthright and our purpose, and I'm sure Sherry can share more on that based on Kashi Records, so I just went with it, and here I am. So
That's amazing. Yeah, in terms of the Akashic Records, definitely the Akashic Records is the record that every soul has experienced since that soul originated. A lot of times we reuse the gifts that we've created or what we've honed over lifetimes. We do get to choose before we come here, what do we want to learn? What do we want to experience? We also have free will here, so we could just shuck those responsibilities or those learning processes and do something else. So it's a very interesting process to see how people use their gifts. And we were mentioning earlier how people have accumulated a lot of different gifts. So what I find is that many light workers are multi-passionate.
yes, yes. So as you were saying before too, in reference to, like, you had a 9 to 5, and then from that 9 to 5 you moved into becoming a massage therapist, and then from the massage therapist, is that when you sort of entered into this new field, this new pathway that you're in, doing all that you are doing?
Yeah, so it's very interesting because my best friend in massage therapy school, she was always carrying crystals around in her bra. So I was always asking questions about crystals, and she would go see a healer a couple of times a month. So she kind of got me into it. And I ended up looking for, other ways to heal. And I was reading cards by then and using other crystals. So it was like a jumping off point.
It's like jumping off that cliff.
It is. And I ended up going through a Quantum Success Coaching Academy. And that's how I got into doing more life coaching using the spiritual aspects.
Yes, yes. And currently, if I'm not mistaken, you have this amazing offer going on right now that you're promoting. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So I worked with the chakras. I used to be a yoga teacher a long time ago, and I am familiar with the chakras and energy and auras. So I guess I was kind of into it before I got into it. I just didn't really see it the same way that I see it now. So what I really want is to help energy healers use the chakras and their aura to be able to clear themselves, because one thing that I find is that many healers, they're not using a conduit guide, and we can talk about that at another time if you want, or we can talk about it now. But they're not using a conduit guide, so they're picking up all the energy from the people that they're connecting with, and then they're wondering why they're exhausted. So a way for other healers to be able to clear their energy and understand what they've picked up when, and for them to do the same thing for their clients.
Yes, yes. And being that you did mention in reference to the convent guide, why don't we speak about that so we don't leave anybody hanging and trying to figure out, well, what does she mean? And I mean, yes, we could definitely leave it as a cliffhanger and say, come back and catch Sherry another time, because we'll definitely have you on again. Or we can share it now, and because Lord knows when we have you back on, there'll probably be so much more you'll have to share.
Of course. So a conduit guide, think about a conduit like you would even in electricity. So it's like a tube that you create or your guide creates for you between you and your client or clients. So if you have 20 of them, you can create 20 different conduits. So you're working with each person individually. What that does is allow their energy to come through you through one path, so that when you're done working with a client, the conduit guide cuts the conduit, and then the energy is just gone. You're not carrying it around with you for the next 6 days or 6 years.
Yes, which I think is important, because again, I think by doing that, it also helps us to let go of whatever we picked up from the client.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure. And I also find that many people will do things first thing in the morning to clear their energy, and sometimes they'll do it before bed, but they're not doing it between clients. So they also need tools to make sure that they're fresh and clean and clear for the next and for the next.
exactly. The same way, which I think is really interesting when we think about this pandemic, where theoretically, I mean, I know from my place of business, because I do work with some clients on site, I have to sort of clean, re-sterilize the space, so to speak, after each client. And the same that we would do if we're doing a Reiki session, in a room, we want to cleanse the energy in the room. So it would only make sense to turn around to cleanse our own energy as well before approaching the next client.
Yeah, one of the things that I learned when I was a massage therapist is that I would write their file, because we had to keep really good notes. And as I was writing their file, I would clear the energy. And when I put it back into the filing cabinet, I would cut the cords.
Yes, yes. So speak about cutting cords briefly, because again, we may have many, many new witches out there that, seeking a lot of notes and trying to figure things out. So just talk about the cutting cords.
In terms of cords, it's almost like for good relationships and relationships that maybe aren't feeling so good, people are actually connected to our energy as though they have this electrical cord attaching. And we attach to other people, and other people attach to us. So essentially, what I would do is call in Archangel Michael and ask Archangel Michael to cut any and all cords and lovingly reconnect them either to source or to ground, so that they have a place to go, so they're not just flailing. And then I would usually call upon Archangel Raphael and have him heal any of the connection points, so that my energy is my own again.
Yes, makes sense. Makes sense. So, and because we unfortunately had a commercial break before that was unplanned, we are at the very close to the end of our show, but I would like you to share with our viewers how they can reach you.
Absolutely. The best place to reach me is on Facebook. So I don't know if people know the way to message me directly on Facebook, so I'll share that because it's kind of fun. You do fb.me, so fb.me/msg/Sherry.Simpson. So it's fb.me/message/ and then whatever the name is of the person you're connecting with.
Yes. And that actually happens to be on the flyer. So those who were not able to get all the little symbols going on there, just check out that flyer. It is definitely there. And you can also go to my Facebook page or Sherry's Facebook page. And I'm sure it's on her flyer, the flyer that I sent her as well. So for those who might be trying to figure it all out, because I know for me, it was like, oh, what? Yeah, a little confusing sometimes. Yes, yes. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with our viewers for today based on the season of the witch?
I believe that if you intend to expand your gifts, that is your first step. So essentially set the intention that you're going to grow, expand, whatever the term is for them, and then act upon the intuitive hits that come once you've made that intention aloud.
Excellent, excellent. And although I was not going to do this today, I just got a little tug on the back of my head from my mom. She's asking me to ask you if you would like me to pull a card for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, you could thank Mom for that.
Thank you, Mom.
Yes. I'm like, no, Mom, we don't do that in this show. She's like, yes, you do. All right. Your card for today is engaged. Engaged. So for you, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word engage? What resonates?
Yeah. So two things hit me. One of them was engaging with my audience in a different way, so growing my connections and my relationships. And the other one was literally engaged, like you're foretelling what's happening in my relationship. I haven't called one in yet, but I know it's coming.
Yes, yes. And it's so interesting because I know that, through all the times that you and I have communicated, I know that's something that's in your plan. It's definitely in your journey. So it's definitely getting close. Definitely getting close. Now the chakra, which is so interesting because of how you even came into where you are with all the work that you do, is based on the throat chakra. So
Mhm.
it's very prominent for you in reference to the throat chakra and how you communicate. And I'm not getting that the throat chakra is blocked. What I am getting is that you're doing what you need to do. You're expressing and sharing as much as you can, and continue doing what you need to do. And your number is 2 and 7. So that
Mm.
2 is the partnership. The 7 is the spiritual seeker that you are, and that 9 is your transformation that you are undergoing right now. Because just like me, where I'm opening up all these additional new gifts that I have, you too are in that space as well, where your vibration is rising even higher than it was. So yeah, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How does that resonate with you?
It definitely resonates in terms of the 9. I always think about it as a celebration as well.
Yes, and it is because we let things go so we can make space for the new things to come in. And
Mm.
it's definitely a transitional period of time right now that we're all in. And I'm sure you're in on as well, based on the different things that I watch you do on Facebook, because you're very fascinating. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
yes, yes. So, with that being said, I just want to share with our viewers today just some of the different things that's going on in my world, final new events that's going on, and I'm going to have Sherry share one more time to how to reach her. So in regards to what's going on in my world, I have this amazing, amazing new membership going on. It's a 6-month magical moon ritual ceremony membership, which is so funny
Mm.
because those are the words we were using earlier. And it has all to do with the moon and just aligning your energy with a lot of different rituals and spells that I'm going to be working with you on. Our introductory class takes place this Sunday, which is our new moon, on November 15th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm giving it at a very, very, very affordable rate, $11. So
Mm.
for those of you who are interested in signing up for that class, feel free to, I guess the best way is email me, healingwithin76@gmail.com, and just check out all my other services that I have going on. There is one other service that I really, really want to get everybody's attention on my cosmic energy soul readings. I think right now is a great time to indulge in one to find out what's going on. And I have a special rate for that at $44. Should that be something that's resonating? Again, email healingwithin76@gmail.com. And anyone who's looking to be a guest or an advertising sponsor, email healingwithin76@gmail.com. Sherry, one more time, let the viewers know how they can reach you.
Absolutely. So on Facebook, I'm Sherry.Simpson, SHERRI.SIMPSON.
Thank you for that. And for those of you who are still watching with me, remember, share, like, and comment. We're on Roku and also iTunes and YouTube. And come join me this Sunday as I have another amazing guest coming on, and you're not going to want to miss that show. And that's going to be on Joanne's Healing Within, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday. Till then, have yourself an awesome day. Enjoy this powerful energy of 11/11/2020. And again, for all those who have served, thank you so much for your duty. And that's it for today, guys. Bye-bye for now. And thank you, Sherry, for being here. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye, everyone.